So after I recognized an area in my personal life that I may have just overlooked momentarily, perhaps I had too much trust in a certain area, that it was smooth and that there was no problems or issues, I let that area fumble a little bit. And I was hearing Spirit say, there's always room to do better, but not to beat yourself up over the setback. Just do better. We don't have to take a situation and break ourselves down, our morale, our attitude, our mentality, our spirit down because we may have overlooked something, overtrusted someone or something, or just ignored the signs. Once we recognize where the problem lays and where the work needs to be done, it's as simple as just putting one foot in front of the other and doing the work. All that inner anguish and self-talk of anger and doubt and frustration does not need to happen anymore. It is what it is. And a lot of times we will beat ourselves up because of fear. Fear of being looked at a certain way. I dropped the ball. I didn't make a deadline. I forgot to pay a bill. I overspoke and overshared. Whatever it is. We're afraid of how we will be perceived. And we really do need to take a look from a perspective, like a higher perspective, like a bird's eye view perspective of the entire situation, and really ask ourselves, is this really worth stressing over? Make the correct adjustments and just move forward, one step at a time. So I heard that today from Spirit in regards to my own personal affairs, and I just felt like it was necessary and probably really important that someone else in this collective heard it too, because I think that we tend to do that, don't we? Beat ourselves up over something that maybe we overlooked and didn't see clearly. And it's a lot. We do balance quite a bit in our lives. We balance family. We balance our social lives. We balance home repairs and maintenance and following up with our parents and our children. And then we have work. And we have to balance those dynamics and those relationships and the skills that we have to bring to the workplace. We have to stay fresh in our technique, our education, our trade. And then we get paid. And then we have to balance how we pay things, how we take care and designate the money towards certain aspects of our life. And then we have to participate outside the home in events and social activities and school events and work events. And then we have our own livelihood, making sure we take care of our health and our nutrition and our mental clarity and our mental state and our recreational activities, all these things every single day we have to balance. It becomes a lot. A lot. And even when we feel that we have everything pretty well tuned and we're leading a very well balanced life, something always does sneak up, doesn't it? To remind us that, hey, you're not as balanced as you thought and this area needs to be looked at. And then a lot of times I feel like we just kind of crumble. Like, how could I have missed that? How could I not have realized that area was not getting any of my attention or not as much attention as it needed? And I feel like that is probably one of the hardest things in life, in my opinion, is balance and making sure that everything is getting the attention that it needs. And I don't know, some people carry way more than others, and I don't know if we're ever going to find the perfect harmony of balance. I know that we seek to. I know I do. And I have a huge tendency of beating myself up when I recognize I let an area go unnoticed for far too long. But it's time for a change. It's time to start moving differently into the future, going forward, about how I react during these situations. How do we react when we are faced with something that maybe we didn't fulfill properly, or execute the right way, or communicate the right way? It's a learning process. We're never going to stop having to learn lessons. But we do need to stop belittling ourselves and throwing ourselves under the bus every time a lesson is presented. We just need to learn the lesson and move forward. Some lessons are going to be harder than others. Some are going to be completely where we do not want to have to face it at all. We're just going to want to ignore the lesson completely. But the truth is that we just have to move through it, deal with it, not worry about what anyone else outside of ourselves is thinking, and to remember that what we think of ourselves holds the most weight at the end of the day. How we perceive ourselves, how we judge ourselves and critique ourselves is so important. We need to show ourselves a level of love, respect, understanding, tenderness, compassion that we would indeed show other people in the same situation. Had it been a friend that had gone through the same thing as you, or a spouse, or a family member, co-worker, what would you say to them? How would you react? How would you coach them through it? Now, put yourself in that position. How are you dealing with this in regards to your own mental talk? Would you have said that to a friend? Maybe. But for the most part, I feel like we often have way more grace when it comes to helping others see through their storm than we do our own selves. And I really feel like this is where it starts. It starts with us. It starts within. It starts with how we talk to ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and the grace that we end up giving ourselves at the end of the day. So